I'm Andrew Ford, your 2021 UCAR President. Welcome to the UCAR February Virtual Awards Luncheon. Hopefully our next event will be in person, but thank you for tuning in virtually today. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank UtahRealEstate.com for sponsoring this event today. We're grateful for their support and for the great MLS that they provide for us. I'd like to thank all of our affiliates for their continued support of UCAR. Please consider using their services. We've got a great lineup for you today. We'll also be giving away some prizes for those in attendance. We've got some awards to present and a great speaker, Desmond Lomax of the Arbinger Institute, who will talk to us today about success through our connections with others. Also, you'll want to stay tuned to learn about details about our new program, the Top 250 Production Recognition. We'll do some drawings at the end of this event for those who stay tuned in today, so please stay with us. Sit back and get comfortable and enjoy. We're going to start things off with a quiz brought to you by UtahRealEstate.com. You can win a $150 gift card to Sundance Resort if you are the first person to answer with the correct answer. To win, you must text the first correct answer to 385-314-3993. Okay, here we go. "2020 was a crazy year for so many reasons, with the pandemic raging and disrupting so much of what was normal life for most of us. Many people suffered emotionally, economically, and socially. It didn't come as much of a surprise to me that so many of our members, affiliates, and brokerages stepped up and took the opportunity to do good in their communities in the middle of this disruption. That's what realtors are all about, serving their local communities, whether it's helping people with their housing needs, defending property rights, or serving those communities during tough times. Realtors are all about serving in their local communities, and here are just a few examples of the good that was done by our members in 2020. After that, we're going to present our awards for the year 2020.
When the quarantine started and we all started working from home, I started Facebook games every day. I think it was at 3 o'clock. And it was just a way for people to, like I said, they can include their families as well as themselves, and we would give away prizes. So that would be, we did bingo, Pictionary, and we just did that every day. And then we did taper down a little bit when people kind of started to venture back out a little bit. And then of course now I'm not doing it since we're mostly out again. But 2020, I think we all know and all, was just a little bit difficult, challenging, but I really like that it made us think outside of the box. It also brought a lot of families closer. I know it gave us some more extra family time and some downtime, but it was cool to see how other people just really stepped up and brought out the good. And it would be nice if we could do that all the time. But maybe that's what we can take away with 2020, is just be better and be nicer.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Christensen. I'm a realtor here in Utah County and have been for about 6 years. I work for Keller Williams, KW Westfield in Orem, and I run the KW Cares committee here. Every year, the second Thursday of May, Keller Williams shuts down worldwide to do an annual day of service. In 2020, we did 15,000 meals for kids in Utah with food insecurities. We included, all of our clients and friends and family and all of the agents here within our office to collect food and money to go towards these children. Also this year, we partnered with For the Kids Foundation in November, and we did over 900 turkeys to feed 900 families here in Utah for Thanksgiving. It was an incredible experience. It was awesome to think that we gave all of these families not just a meal but a holiday. It was a super cool experience. To wrap up the year, we partnered with Christmas Box House. It's a shelter for children, and these kids are coming to Christmas Box House awaiting to be placed in foster care. So they come to the home with literally nothing but the clothes that they are wearing, and they're leaving devastating situations. They've either been abused, their parents have gone to jail, they're not safe in their home environments, and so they've been removed and taken to Christmas Box House to live. They don't know if they'll be there for a night, they could be there for 6 months. When they get there, they go through what they call a closet, and they get, a stuffed animal and pajamas and sheets and a blanket and all the necessities that they're going to need. We did 104 pillows, 91 stuffed animals, 106 blankets, 110 pairs of pajamas, 58 sets of sheets, and 160 snacks for the kids at Christmas Box House. We also did $3,500 to replace their beds that were in need of being replaced. So it's been an awesome experience running KW Cares this year at Keller Williams, and we just love to give back to the community. We think that, we're so blessed to work here in Utah and have the ability to also give back to the community that gives so much to us.
Hey friends, this is Lorraine Gaffin. I am a realtor with KW Westfield. I have been a realtor for about 2 years. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that happened in my life during COVID. First of all, I decided to call all of my SOI because I needed to know if they were going to be okay or not. So I called all my neighbors and friends. They were afraid of being at home all by themselves and had no one from the outside world to talk with. So I just asked them if they were doing all right. We had an earthquake and we had the COVID hit. And so most people were okay. They just were lonesome at home. I just wanted to make sure they knew somebody cared, that somebody was interested in what was happening with them. A lot of people have been paying attention to our first responders and people like that. And so I got to thinking, our garbage guys and our mailman come regularly. The mailman comes every day and he doesn't miss a beat. And our garbage guys, what would we do without them if they didn't come every week? So I made a couple of signs and took them out to them and thanked them for coming. And oh my gosh, it has been the funnest thing because the mailman stops and chats with my husband. The garbage guys, even when they're down the street and turning the corner, they wave to me, which is hilarious. And so I've got 3 new friends that I never knew before. And they really appreciated being thanked for just doing their jobs, which is awesome. Big or small, we have tried to serve our community and help them through this virus time. It's just crazy. I guess the way to look at it is your attitude makes a big difference. And if you look at it as a time to be down and out and whine and cry about it, of course that's what you get paid back. But if you look for ways to serve other people, it always does more for you than it does for them.
Hi, this is Bill Freeze with Realty Path. I've been a realtor now for over 20 years. As most of you know, for the last 40 years, the Provo Freedom Festival has been the flagship patriotic program in our country. For the last 9 years, I've had the opportunity to serve as the Provo Freedom Festival PIN chairman. Each year, the Freedom Festival PIN honors and recognizes the freedoms we enjoy as Americans. In 2020, in an effort to make more young people aware of what the Freedom Festival stands for, we decided to include students from both Provo and Timpview high schools in the development of our PIN design. I was able to meet with art teachers at both high schools and explained our plans. They took the project back to their art students, and artwork was submitted by both schools to our Freedom Festival board. 2 winners were announced: Vienna Boys of Timpview and Alyssa Churchill of Provo. Both girls are recognized in the Provo Daily Herald for their pin designs. Normally, we sell the pins during our 35 different Freedom Festival events, but this year, because of COVID-19 virus, all the events except the fireworks display were canceled. We decided instead to give each senior at Timpview, Provo, and also Independence High School a complimentary Freedom Pin in their graduation packet. The senior students and their parents were thrilled to get these pins that recognized our U.S. veterans. We also distributed the pins to local U.S. veterans in Utah County and to all Provo police officers and Provo firefighters. And they were also very appreciative of this gesture. I want to say thanks to all of our Utah County realtors for their support of the Freedom Festival, their purchasing of pins in the past, and also their help in selling pins at different Freedom Festival events. The Provo Freedom Festival is recognized nationwide as one of the top patriotic organizations and events, celebrating our nation's history and the freedoms that we enjoy. Remember, the price of freedom is never paid. God bless America, and thanks again, realtors, for all of your help.
There's about 1.2 million people sex trafficked annually in the U.S. And for adult women, there were less than 700 beds throughout the United States to place them to help them with rehabilitation or other similar treatments, okay? My cousin contacted me and said, hey, I was wondering if you could help me get this thing going. And it's been unreal. You know, I largely am responsible for the community outreach, getting connections with different groups that want to do service projects. We have purchased a farm in Highland. It's just over 2 acres, and the place is transformed. We are able to house a few women that have been sex trafficked there at the house on the property, but then we have an animal therapy farm, you know, behind. We've got chickens and goats and alpacas and rabbits and horses for equine therapy. And we basically built out that farm, and any, you know, groups, I try to help arrange those groups that come in and volunteer. And then obviously with KW, when I was with KW, I was on the KW Cares Committee and organized a KW Cares Day where we went in and helped lay sod and clean up the property and paint and do multiple things. And it's neat. You know, we basically specialize in the complete rehabilitation and acclimation of these women wherever they're at in the recovery process back into society. I didn't realize being a realtor would, because I'm barely in my 3rd year. I'll be a realtor 3 years May 1st. And I had no idea coming into this, the opportunities outreach-wise that it would provide and how fulfilling it is and awesome it is.
Our affiliates do so much for us year in and year out. It's always hard to pick just one affiliate for Affiliate of the Year. The awards committee worked hard, and they did come up with a winner. And this year's Affiliate of the Year award is going to Kenneth Roberts of First American Title.
I am truly honored and surprised for this award, but I appreciate those who did support me in my efforts, and being able to be a part of UCAR has been one of the highlights of my career. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you this coming year.
It was a crazy year to jump into real estate, and we have some great new members that shine brightly. 2020's Rookie of the Year goes to Jessica Williams with Presidio Real Estate.
I just want to say thank you so much, and this was such a crazy year. I'm so appreciative of all the support that I had, and my broker specifically to push me as hard as she did, to know I could do the best that I could do, and it worked out for me. And to be in this category at all with such amazing people and so many agents I look up to and value, and I just appreciate all of it. And here's to 2021.
We stand upon the shoulders of those who have built and shaped our real estate world long before many of us even thought about getting into real estate. Today, we get to honor one of those who has done so much for our industry. I'd like to present the 2020 Lifetime Achievement Award to Sandy Davidson, broker of Alliance Real Estate.
Hello, I'm Christine Alleman, the daughter of Sandy Davidson. I have worked with my mom for the past 26 years. I have been since selling real estate for the last 20. I have been working with her, and I've gotten to know her not just as my mom, but also as a realtor and as a person. She has done many amazing things during her career. She's worked with United Way, putting together their building down there and working with the Esther Foundation in helping them do so. She's also helped Kids on the Move, putting together their playground. And she has taught me a lot about what it means to be charitable with your time and your energy and your money. She has also taught me how to really work in this industry, as well as many others. Her door is always open to other agents and brokers who have come in and been able to ask questions and to be able to get the answers that they need. And she's been able to help on different court cases throughout the years, and attorneys constantly call her up and ask her questions. And she has done many amazing things in this industry, and I personally love her, not just because she's my mother, but she's somebody who I love and respect. I am grateful to have known and to have her for my mother, and not to just have her for my mother, but to also know her as a person. I'd love to be able to say, Mom, I am proud of you. Thank you for all the years that you have given me in this industry, and for teaching me how to work in this industry. I am indeed grateful. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Bill Freeze. It's a great pleasure for me today to recognize one of the outstanding realtors that I've worked with over the years. This is Sandy Davidson. Sandy's been a realtor and a broker now in Utah for 36 years. And the great part about Sandy is that she gives back. She helps her agents, teaches them, is a great example to them. And she also gives back to our community. She's worked with different charities. Children on the Move has been one of her favorites. And we look to her as a great example of leadership, showing what realtors do in our community. We appreciate her example. The other great thing about Sandy is her expertise. She's actually acted as an expert witness in court cases here in Utah and has appeared before the Utah Supreme Court in important disclosure cases. So we're very fortunate to have someone with her expertise, her knowledge, one that can always be trusted. So it's with great pleasure that once again we recognize Sandy Davidson as a Lifetime Achievement Award winner at UCAR. Congratulations, Sandy.
Thank you so much. It's a lovely shiny award. I love shiny things. And I got into this business 37 years ago. And when I joined real estate, the interest rate was 21%, and the average price of a house was $85,000. And over the years, I've watched the market do a lot of different things. And this isn't any different than a lot of things I've watched over the years. I tell my fellow realtors to approach this unafraid, as we know that the market is a continually fluid changing thing, and it's part of the excitement of doing real estate in our business. It's part of the why we are here in this business. I started all those years ago because my husband was disabled. I needed a way to make a living for my family. And I did. And I've appreciated all the help I've received from all of those who went before me. I had great mentors. And I hope you do too in this business. Because the best thing we can do is serve the public in our best possible manner. Thank you so much for the award. It's very touching. I appreciate it.
Every year, we give out a Realtor of the Year award to one of our members whose contributions to our industry through leadership and service makes them stand out and deserve our recognition. I'll turn it over to last year's Realtor of the Year, Aaron Drussel, for the presentation of the Realtor of the Year Award.
Peter, you made it.
Hey, Aaron.
Okay. All right, this will be great. You brought it?
Yeah, I got the award. What time is he expecting us?
Oh, he doesn't know. It's a surprise.
So we're surprising him today?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Let's just go right in.
Like walk into his house?
Well, how would we be a surprise if we don't just walk right in?
We could knock and he'd be surprised when he answered.
Yeah, but that like ruined the fun.
All right. I guess you know Breezy better than I do.
Well, I mean, I've never been inside his house before, but Breezy's pretty easy going.
He might have a family.
I'm sure his family lives here too.
Probably.
He's got a key box. I don't have the code to that one. You have the code to it?
To a contractor box? No. I don't have Breezy's contractor box.
But he definitely has a super here then.
Why would he have a super on his house?
All agents have super boxes on their houses. It's just part of the deal. When you're an agent, right there, see?
Well, that is something I did not know.
Of course. I mean, like, you just have a super box for your own house. Like, everybody does that.
I guess I had a key in a rock, so why not have a super box?
Yeah, it just makes more sense this way. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
And it's just open. There's no code on it.
No CBS code. Nope.
It seems secure.
Perfect. Okay, let's go. Okay.
Can we get this open? I still feel a little funny about this.
Hello?
You did not.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Is Breezy here?
Hi.
Yeah.
He is?
Yeah.
We got something for Breezy.
Breezy, Price Patrol.
Breezy!
Breezy.
Congrats! Realtor of the Year.
I don't believe it.
That's awesome.
Oh, we're not making this up.
Cool.
This is for real.
This is for
Dude,
real.
Congrats.
Thanks, man.
That's awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
You.
Look at this. Are you so proud of me
I
now?
have never heard of it.
That's pretty cool, huh?
You can put it next to my Hope of America.
We had one. We had one person enter. It was just Breezy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Breezy had some there was some intense
The voting
competition.
was still tight, though.
The voting was tight. It was super tight.
Breezy.
I didn't think I would.
I honestly didn't think I would win.
That's awesome.
told my wife, like, there's no way.
That's super cool.
Cool.
That's great.
Congrats. Sorry for just busting into your house. We just figured that would be more exciting that way.
We used your key box.
Yeah.
Your standard realtor issue key box.
The cleaners, they all, you know the code now.
Yeah, we're good.
Use
We're
it
good.
anytime you want.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, no, this is super unexpected. I appreciate it. Thanks. And however many years ago Stephanie Summers invited me to help out at UCAR, I never realized that I'd be going, you know, full board into it. I thought it was a, yeah, sure, I'm kind of a yes man, where if somebody asks me to do something, I can never say no. So really cool opportunity to work with really good people and really good agents. You know, there's times where I think this is the toughest industry to be in, but agents in our association just make it so much fun and so great to be a realtor. So thank you and appreciate it.
It's time for another quiz sponsored by UtahRealEstate.com. Remember, to win, be the first to text the correct answer to this number, 385-314-3993. The first to get the correct answer will win a $150 gift card. Now we'll turn the time over to Kimberly Potts, Karen Nugent, and Sherry Lynn Ramsey to present a couple of checks from the UAR Housing Opportunity Fund.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Potts, and I'm so excited to be here today because we are getting ready to present
a check to an organization that we're so excited to be here to support. But first, I get to explain a little bit about where this money is coming from. I was last year's committee chair for the Community Involvement Committee 2020, and a bunch of our committee members were really excited when we heard about this nonprofit organization, the house that she built. So we reached out to them and encouraged them to fill out that grant application, which then gets submitted to the Utah Association of Realtors Housing Opportunity Fund. And we get to vote if they get to receive the grant or not. And we're so happy to be here today to say, guess what? You received the grant, a $10,000 check that you can put towards your efforts. And will you tell us a little bit about the house that she built?
Absolutely, I would love to. Thank you so much for this check. This is beautiful. And a little introduction to myself. So my name is Briandy Bond. I currently serve on the board of directors for the Professional Women in Building here in Utah, also known as PWB. And I also am able to stand before you as the licensed engineer who worked on this project. And the Professional Women in Building, the PWB, we're made up of various women of the trades here in Utah. We include general contractors, we include builders, all of the above. Architects, designers, and we stand together to create this amazing and wonderful The House That She Built project for you today. With this project, what we focus on is emphasizing the amazing abilities of the various tradeswomen here in Utah, as well as all over the nation. We came together to create this house that she built, which is designed, built, and constructed by a team primarily of women. So 60% of the proceeds will go towards scholarships for women in trades. 20% will go towards a charity of which we will choose to help the various community around us, and then the remaining 20 will stay within the PWB to allow us to potentially do future projects and will help our organization as well.
So to close out, my name is Sherry Lynn Ramsey, and I'm the 2021 Community Involvement Chair, and we're just excited to be a part of this. We're asking for our members to please let us know of any other worthy organizations that we can give UAR Hoff money to. And I just want to say we're so excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Knudsen with Presidio Real Estate, and it just brought me so much joy to be able to get Utah Foster Care nominated for this grant this year. And we are just so pleased that Kim here got it through and that they're able to get this check today.
We are super excited, Karen, to be here today. I am, again, Kimberly Potts from Presidio Real Estate. I was last year's Community Involvement Chair, and so I have the honor of being able to present this check, which is for the amount of $4,000. And we are so excited to pass it on to the Utah Foster Care organization. We're excited to pass that check on to them today and to learn a little bit more about how they're going to be spending this money.
I'm Mike Hamlin with Utah Foster Care. Thank you very much. We're just so grateful for the generosity of the Realtors Association in providing this and allowing us to participate. When you think of homes, oftentimes we'll get people that talk to us about wanting to donate toys for children or items for children, and what we have to tell them is, as much as those things are nice and benefit a child's life, none of them mean anything if the children don't have a home, if they don't have a place to go to. And so we appreciate so much your support in those efforts. And our focus really is in finding homes for kids that are in foster care due to abuse or neglect. And we'll be using the funding in order to help support some of our programs that revolve around that, helping to run our fall festival where we're bringing families in, helping them learn more about the needs of children in foster care and providing homes for them, as well as our village run, which revolves around helping children who are transitioning out of foster care to be able to set themselves up and provide for themselves and find a future home for themselves as well as they move out of the foster home that they've been living in. So thank you. We appreciate your support.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure.
I am here to introduce to you Desmond Lomax, who I have known as Desi for a few years now, probably going on 8 or 10 or something like that. And Desi is someone I look up to tremendously, both personally and professionally. For over 20 years, Desi has been in the business of making people's lives better. I think we could quantify that through structurally, he's been in the police departments for about 20 years, and he's worked in multiple organizations, and he helps as a clinical psychologist as well. Desi is a proud father and husband, and just an incredible role model for countless people. And so I would love to welcome him warmly and vigorously, and turn the time over to Desi Lomax.
Sharing mics during COVID, you gotta love that. I did get a laugh. Thank you for laughing back there. I appreciate it. I'll be here for another hour or so just keep it up. Thank you. We good? Okay. Desmond Lomax, call me Desi. The topic today is success through connections with others, and I'm going to tell you just a few stories. I have to take this off. I am 6 feet away from everybody. I'll tell you a few stories that talk about success for me. Being here is a success story for me. I met Stephen many years ago. Workout partners. Don't let it fool you. He's strong. Very, very strong, and a neat connection with him and his family and his wife and his children. A neat story I have about connections with him, and I apologize, Stephen, I'm going to share this anyway. So my daughter wanted to go on a mission, and she was broke, and clearly I worked in law enforcement, so I was broke as well. And she's like, Dad, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, well, sweetie, like, we got to come up with a game plan here. Like, Dad's got a little money, but we got to come up with a game plan. Let's start praying on this, right? So in the process, we're trying to figure this out. And Stephen ends up going on a vacation with his wife and needed someone to watch his children for like a week and a half. And as a result of that, my daughter did a great job. We were over there helping her, making sure everything stayed relatively pretty cool. Helped, and then, she was able to do the house sitting, and it helped pay for a portion of her mission. But that wasn't enough for Stephen. He also gave her a tip to help pay for her mission clothes, and was an answer to our prayers. And connections like that are powerful. There's another good friend of mine here by the name of Parcell. Some of you guys might know him, some of you guys don't. I don't really. If you don't, it's okay. Not missing much. When my wife had cancer, and we were raising money for a stem cell transplant, Kenny was able to jump in and donate some things that were able to help us in a time of difficulty. And how I know them independently of each other, guys. I'm not in the real estate business. Turns out they end up being presidents of this wonderful association. But I want you to know that if I ever needed to sell a house or buy a house, it's very clear to me who I'm going to call, because of the relationships I have with individuals who, independent of real estate, I did not know them from a real estate realm, independent of real estate, became a blessing in my life. And so today I really want to talk about how can we have successful connections with others, right? We are in a really awkward time, folks. I don't know if you guys notice it. Am I the only one that's it's a little awkward right now. Okay, and currently I work for an organization that works with leadership, and so I work with corporate leadership and governmental leadership, and we talk about the best way to navigate things with an outward mindset, and we really work on implementing that in organizations. And what we've learned is like things get really awkward when things strike in our lives, like this situation we currently have with COVID. And what we find is like all of a sudden there's like disruptors in the field, right? So a current disruptor in real estate, right, is like all of a sudden there's billboards up, all these things. You're driving down the road and you read a billboard. You don't need a real estate agent. You need us, right? There's some challenges that are creating disruptions in the field, right? Like, it's amazing. Like, I can look at a house and now I know I better not put my email there, because if I put my email there, I'm in trouble. Not from people. I like people. But from these emails and these phone calls, these fake, they're just they're generated emails trying to be like real people. I'm like, no, that's a generated email. So now I'm like looking for a house or a condo or something. And I'm going, I don't know. Maybe I should I don't know. Right? Maybe, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want the phone call, right? We've created these systems, right, where we've automated connections. Our world is depressed, folks. Our world, we're in a world of depression, a world of anxiety. We're in a world where we act like there's such drastic differences between us, but yet we are so much alike, it is ridiculous, okay? This beautiful tan I received because my family grew up near the equator. Go figure, right? I'm brown because my ancestors were closer to the equator. Now, I'm guessing some of your ancestors were a little further north or south of the equator. Just a wild guess. But instead of our connections being based upon what part of the, we come from on the earth, or the north and south of equators, we put huge implications on the color of people's skin. Huge implications. Outside of the fact that I might tan a little bit better when I go to St. George than you might. That's the only difference. And in some circumstances, that's not even true. But it's amazing how we've created automated connections. We're so quick to create division between us, and we wonder why, as a society, we don't feel healthy. There's this overarching fear that is among society now. Like, what's going to happen? Oh my goodness! Were you guys around when COVID hit and then that earthquake hit like a couple days later? Remember that? That was crazy, right? I'm in line trying to get a generator. Like the next day, I'm like, I'm tired of this. I'm getting me a generator. I'm in line. I'm talking to dude. What are you doing? He goes, I'm getting a generator. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm getting a generator. Talk to this other guy. I'm getting it. We're all in line trying to get generators. There are no generators. Then a truck pulled up and there was 4 generators. Like, woo! We each grabbed one. There's 4 lines of people. I'm like, worst case scenario, crank this baby up. We look at Dallas. I've got some clients in Dallas right now. They're like, Desmond, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what's wrong? He goes, it's 5 degrees outside. I'm like, oh! 5 degrees in Dallas is scary. They don't know what to do. They had snow. Now, I'm from the East Coast. You know what happens when it snows in Utah? I stay home until the app shows green on the highway. If the KSL app does not tell me green, I stay home. But most of you Utahns, you guys don't stay home. You get on the road. And so our perceptions, for me, I'm fearful of snow, and for you guys get on skis and ski down it. A lot of perceptions are like, it's going all across our country. And so what I want to talk about today is like how we can be more successful by having meaningful connections and relationships. I gave you 2 examples of 2 people that were presidents. It just so happens they end up being Presidents Association at some point in their careers, but for me, they're dear, dear connected friends. And I want you to think about the current connections you have in your life as real estate agents. Okay? Your most profitable connections I guarantee, are the people that care about you the most. The people that saw something in you and felt connected to you and said, you know what, I like what you did, so I'm going to tell this person. I like that. I appreciate it. The next time I sell my house, it's a no-brainer, right? We need those type of beneficial connections now more than ever in this time of automation and this time of disruptors in business. We really need to find those type of connections. But let's talk for a second about why connections don't work, on why people generally struggle with connections. As a therapist, there's something called trauma. Now, when you think about trauma, maybe some of you at the top of your head think about that Lifetime movie where the lady, oh no, she's running away from her husband. That's really traumatic. There's a lot of Lifetime movies like that. The one, you know the one I'm talking about. But the reality is trauma can be any experience as a little child to an adult that creates some sort of disruption in our life. I've come to people like, some people, I've talked to people that are embarrassed. I'm like, please, don't be embarrassed. Anything that you might think the world sees insignificant as a clinician could be very significant to me. Some people grow up in poverty and then for the rest of their lives, they say never again. And they live with that trauma that drives them out of poverty. Okay. Some people live with trauma that makes it difficult for them to even engage people and say hi. Okay, so what we need to understand in the real estate business is that people come with their stuff. But we have a benefit, right? And it's called the prairie dog effect. Just stay with me. Anybody ever watch these little world shows like the prairie dog, and the prairie dog pops his head out like, hey, what's up? And then the other prairie dog's like, hey, what's going on? I don't know, what are you doing? What are you doing? They kind of do the prairie dog thing. And then a predator shows up. And the prairie dog's like, predator. And the other prairie dog is predator. And they all come up out of the hole like, oh, predator. And they just all scatter away, right? Well, as mammals, we have a prairie dog effect that we're often unaware of. It's invisible to us. Like, we literally ooze every day fear, anxiety, anticipation. We ooze it. And as other mammals, we're feeling those things. Anybody have like, you know what, this guy, I don't know what it is, but this guy, there's a little something that I can't explain it. Anybody ever do that before? That is your mammal. That's the mammal in you who are picking up typically on some signals, right? Now, when we have trauma, those signals can be all out of whack. We lose our natural and innate ability to connect with people in a holistic way when we have traumatic stuff, which is important as a real estate agent because there is nothing more traumatic than buying or selling a home. That was supposed to be a joke. Man, that's rough. This is a rough crowd. I've got like a few minutes left. You guys will get through it. But no, but for many people, selling and buying a home can be a very traumatic experience. Okay, so you have an advantage. If you do step one, check yourself. Now that you know the prairie dog effect and know that you ooze on to other people, you also have to recognize that there's a difference between, hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to my office. And deep down you're saying, oh, this is my next commission. And the person is feeling, wow, this is kind of, why am I feeling so uncomfortable? I'm sitting down and, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to sell my house, right? Instead of, hey, come down, sit down, and the person feels, this is about me and what I'm trying to accomplish. It's so important in this business that you ooze the need and desire to be of good worth to someone else. Okay. One of the statements I use in my work, I use it at home, I use it everywhere. This is what I use every day to my beautiful spouse of 23 years. I get on her nerves. She gets on my nerves sometimes too. We call that marriage. Don't let it fool you, folks. It's called marriage. I say this to her, honey, how can I be helpful? And I wait, and I listen. How can I be helpful? What is the desire of people coming into your office? Hey, sit down. Look them dead in the eyes. How can I be helpful? You don't know. You don't know. I've been married to my spouse for 23 years. I don't know what it's going to be every time I say that. Every day I wake up and say, how can I be helpful? I don't know what the response is going to be. I just know that puts me in a better position to do the things I need to do to be successful as a spouse. In my current field, hey, Desmond, I got to call you. I call them, hey, what's going on? How can I be helpful? I don't automatically assume because I'm an executive coach and I do implementation work and, oh, this is what you need me to do and I need to do this and I need to do that. I don't jump ahead. I take the time and slow down and simply say, how can I be helpful? Trauma is something else. I'll tell you a little story, a personal story about trauma. I'm in church. And this lady's telling a story. God bless her. It's not her, it's me. Because you'll understand in a second. And she's like, I couldn't feed my child, and he was really struggling. He's 2, he didn't want to eat his food. So then I prayed and I asked Jesus, and all of a sudden he started eating. Thank you, Jesus. And I had just lost my son to suicide 2 weeks before. Okay? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? We're in 2 different realms. We're in 2 different places. This lady's trying to get her 2-year-old food, and I was just like, just Cheerios. And I'm in a situation where my son just passed away, and my whole spiritual experience is now being challenged. We don't understand where people are. Up to this point, you didn't understand where I was. It's so important, particularly in jobs that take relationships and success and the connections. It's so important that we really take the time to slow down and not just listen. Most of the time we listen just enough to get enough information to be dangerous, or listen enough just to get enough information to kind of do the things we feel we need to do. Rarely do we listen to the point where we understand a person fully and we can truly understand what it means to be helpful. Okay? All of our relationships improve. I don't have to give you a prescribed list of behaviors. I don't have to say, do this, and that, and everything will work out. I simply say is that the deeper I come to understand a person, the more likely I'm willing to make the necessary adjustments to be of good help to someone else. Okay, at the heart of your job, what motivates you? What moves you to connect with another individual? If you cannot find that, people have a sense of it. As a mammal, I sense it. If this is the commission I need to pay this and pay that, people sense that. If this is a desire to be helpful, knowing that in the process of being helpful, I'll be successful, you'll have both. And there's no either or in business, folks. Our true desire to be helpful and people connecting with that desire is what leads our success and fulfillment in life. Whether it's work, whether it's family relationships, our desire. Now, we can have all the desire in the world, all the sense in the world, and difficult things can happen. I know. I want you to know that in the process of difficult things, that if I'm engaging my life in a meaningful way and loving people and doing my job in a way in which I am helpful, that it's a lot easier to navigate our lives in a successful way than having difficult things happen and woulda, coulda, shouldas of the world. Okay? Guys, it's a difficult time right now. It can often be a difficult time to form connections when they're telling us to stay 6 feet apart. To connect with people in a meaningful way when the whole world is fearful. And there's people lined up at the gun store to get guns for zombies or I don't know who else. I don't know what they're doing. But there's enough fear generated that we have to represent something bigger, something better in everything we do. And if we don't ooze that, we're going to attach to the very fear that makes it difficult for us to have the type of success that we want to have success. Remember, we've got to check ourselves. We've got to evaluate ourselves, our fears, what's holding us back. What are the things that we've experienced that would make it difficult for us to engage a person in a way where we could be helpful? Okay? In the midst of all our trials and tribulations, we can be helpful. Do not wait. Do not wait for things to get better. Do not wait for COVID to be over. There's always something, folks. Do not wait. Make your decisions and take the time now to figure out how you can be helpful to someone else. All right, folks, I hope I've been helpful. I just want to thank the association for inviting me to be a part of this. It's a blessing in my life to know such amazing people. Thank you, Stephen. Thanks, KP. There's a lot of consideration in what I do and in what I share. And I just want you to know that I really believe that what you do is meaningful and important, and owning that on a day-to-day basis and navigating this new world that's trying to tear us away from each other and maintaining meaningful relationships will keep you successful. So thank you.
I want to give you a preview of the new UCAR Top 250 MLS Production Recognition. Next year, in conjunction with our newly revamped Realtor and Excellence Award, which will now be called the Distinguished Service Award, we will also be recognizing the UCAR Top 250 Producers in UtahRealEstate.com. Details will follow, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek. This will be a recognition according to production in the MLS. So the top 250 producers through the UtahRealEstate.com will be recognized for their efforts. You've got the rest of the year to figure out if you qualify, but we're planning on having an event where we recognize those who serve in our industry, the top producers, along with those who defend property rights by being a major RPAC contributor. It's going to be great. Thank you for all that you do.
Anybody got questions? Come on. Yes.
When you ask your wife in the morning,
sometimes we wait till lunchtime.
All the men are listening.
Okay.
And I've been married 46 years.
Okay, 46. I'm halfway there. 23.
38 of it happily.
Oh, wonderful. Let's record it. You're going to get in trouble, Bill.
But I'm wondering, if I said to my wife in the morning, how can I be helpful? I think at times she'd be mad at me.
How?
That I didn't anticipate and know what to do.
Okay.
In other words, suggest to her, hey, if I did this and this, can I help you this morning with this and this and this? Help you. Does that mean?
No, I feel you, Bill. So Bill's question is, for those that maybe didn't hear it on the recording, was like, my wife kind of anticipates. She wants me to anticipate her every move and think the way. And after 40 years, Bill, you should be on your game. You know what I'm saying? After 40 years, you should be anticipating quite a bit, Bill. I'm just putting it out there. So what do I do? Like asking my wife, I don't know if that's going to be damaging. I think there's things we naturally have inclinations of, Bill, so keep doing those things after 46 years. But I also believe that to get to a higher level of results, right, we're typically very comfortable with this standard level of results, particularly if we've been successful. Like if I'm a successful real estate agent, right, and I'm doing this a certain way, I'm thinking, no, I'm good. What is Desmond talking about? I'm good. But the reality is, to get a higher level of results, I have to see people more deeply. And the only way to do that is to ask meaningful questions.
So in other words, maybe I should say to her, would this be helpful, this be helpful,
Absolutely.
This be helpful? And she says yes, and then at that point say, is there anything else that
yeah, and Bill, the reason why I say how can I be helpful is because oftentimes my premonition or what I think is helpful is not helpful to my spouse. And so after 23 years, I think it's important for me to ask, to say, in my asking, I say, what I'm saying is I'm not, it's not a behavioral thing, it's a mindset. When I'm looking at my wife and I'm saying, I see you. That's what I'm saying in that response. How can I be helpful means I see you. It could be just take out the trash. I mean, it's little. It's not the necessary behavior or the prescription that she prescribes to me to make things better in the moment. It's my taking the time to say, I see you. And as a result of that, I want to know how I can be helpful. Okay, one cool story. After my son passed away, things were rough in the Lomax household. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to have a pass away son and we're going to be divorced because it was horrible. I don't know if anybody's been through this. Somebody probably has. It's horrible on marital relationships. And so I woke up every day and I said, your wife just lost her son. I had to remind myself every day what my wife was experiencing so that my actions were mindful of her experience. We have a tendency to act without understanding our impact on other people. We have a tendency to act without being mindful of what the other person is experiencing. And when things are really bad, and that was really bad, I had to wake up every day. Your wife just lost her son. You gotta remember that, because things get ugly. Is that helpful, Bill? Okay. Next question. What do you got for us?
Oh, in real estate, we've discovered that if we sit there and say to our client, the first thing out of our mouths is, what do we need to help you with? What portion do we need to help you with? Because then at least they pour out some of what they're, and if you're doing most of the talking, then you're not doing most of the listening.
Yes, that's beautiful. Another question I use is like, what goals and dreams do you have with this property? What are your hopes? What are you trying to accomplish? These are all mindful questions that say to an individual, I see you. Okay? And I love that. You're exactly right. I'm telling you, the best people in the business This is what they do. And this is what they feel. It's more than just a job. It's a mindset and a way of being and how they engage people on a day-to-day. And success follows that. It goes right along hand in hand with it. Okay? But then you got to determine what success is. I was talking to my backyard neighbor. I'm like, yeah, I got my master's degree. And then after that, I doubled my income. And he goes, so why are you still in this house? I'm like, I like my house. It's my little house. It's my house. I like my house. I like the opportunity to work at Walmart if I choose to and still afford my house. To me, that's success. That if I wake up and go work at Walmart, that things are still working. Now, for some people, that's not, and it's okay. But I'm telling you, your success needs to be directly implemented with your way of being and how you engage people on a day-to-day basis. And if your success is self-focused, you'll hit a plateau. You'll level out. You might even go down. If your success is solely about you and what you're trying to accomplish, you will eventually just do this. And that's just a sign you're not seeing other people the way you need. Good question, good comment. Any other questions? Come on, folks. What else do you have for me? Somebody disagree with me. I'm even good with that. I don't care what you're saying, Desmond. It makes no sense at all.
Everything you're saying makes good sense.
Oh, bless your heart. Can I take you with me on the way home? This is wonderful.
We'll do this again on the road.
I love it. I love it. You know, some things I like to add. A lot of times people have learned experiences in different things that you may not understand. It's been very common. Go figure, for some reason, like, people always ask me, so Desmond, what do you think about, like, social justice? What do you think about this or that? You know, I live in Utah. I'm like the only black friend they have. So, you know, I try to be patient. I try to be patient. Thank you for laughing up front. I was working on that one. And the reality is oftentimes I'm like, look, there are just certain things that you experience that I won't understand. Certain things I experience that you won't understand. And that's all good. It's all good. What we need to come to understand is that even in the midst of our differences, there's commonality. All of a sudden, we break out in hives because there's differences. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Brother Lomax just said this about on Facebook. Yeah, I think differently. It's okay. We still have commonalities in the things we believe. But I find it interesting that we let differences create polarizing things among us. And we ooze that. We're mammals. We ooze that. It doesn't take much for me to spend 5 to 10 minutes with a person. I know exactly how they feel about it. They ooze it. So understand that the way you perceive the world and how you perceive the world, if it's not all encompassing, if it doesn't allow you to appreciate and understand some person more deeply than you have before, you're missing out. One of the cool things is, like, it's amazing how diverse people are, and they have no clue. They have no clue. So when we bring up diversity, you're like, oh, what a world, what a world. Like, the world's going to do it. Well, you're diverse too. Right? And so once we start realizing that all of us bring a level of diversity and richness to our experience, we can appreciate it on a more deeper level. But when we choose not to do that, and somehow I'm better than, I'm missing out. If I walk up and down the street and feel that I'm better than someone else, I'm missing out. And I ooze it. And my business oozes it. And I'll have some success with people that associate with people just like me and think they're better than everybody else too. But with everybody else in it, I won't connect with those people. So our ability to connect is deep and profound, and it takes work for all of us. I do work every day to figure out how to connect with someone who's not like me. called Living in Utah. Thank you. Thank you. You're laughing. I was working on that one for a while too. Yes, in the back.
So our business is really, we have a lot of rejections.
Yes, you have a lot of rejections.
And so sometimes it's hard when you put your heart and soul into that relationship that you believe, and then your clients go off the reservation. Do you have any suggestions on how to deal with being able to take something positive from that, or how to adapt and move forward?
Rejection. What do we do with rejection and build relationships that turn out into rejection? So these are some things I'd like you to reflect upon. If I have a meaningful connection with someone else, and they choose to, let's say, use a different realtor, and that relationship goes away because they use a different realtor, was that a meaningful relationship to begin with? So that's one thing I want you to say. The next thing is that rejection's a part of the job. So what do I need to make peace with as a realtor? Because if I see a rejection as a direct reflection of me and not the other person's trauma, learned experiences, and the other person's difficulties, if I see them going somewhere else as a direct reflection of me, it's going to be very difficult for me to maintain a high level of success. There's some personal ownership that comes into, this is what I do it very well, and I have this high capacity to be helpful to someone else. And I need to own that, because on occasion there's going to be experiences that challenge that. Can you imagine being a therapist and your son passes away to suicide? Oh my goodness. It's like taking a brick to the proverbial head. I had to dig deep and say, oh my goodness, Desi, like, what did you miss? What didn't you miss? Then I had to stop and say, you're a dad. You talk to him every day. You just wanted what was best for him, and dads see the best in their children. There's things you miss because you weren't Mr. Therapist all the time. And I can make peace with that. So there's an element of this job that you have to make peace with when there's a semblance of rejection. And recognize that rejection has more to do with the experience of another individual than what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And what you'll learn is that your consistency in the things that you do well and taking ownership of that really changes the terminology of what rejection is. I would even stop using the word rejection and maybe use they chose something different. Rejection is such a hard word. It makes me, I would use maybe they chose a different avenue for reasons I don't understand. But when we use words like rejection, it says something about us that's probably a little too personal, because I'm sure you're an outstanding agent. And owning that and changing that terminology, I think the mixture between that is the voyage that we all have to take when there's been some rejection in our lives. It's an excellent question. Thank you. Love it. Is that helpful? I can continue. Okay. Next question. What else do you guys have? Yes, in the back.
In a world we find ourselves in where people are disagreeing so much and having a hard time disagreeing, what advice would you give to disagreeing better?
Yes. Okay. In a world where people are disagreeing and we're struggling with each other's disagreements, what advice I would give? Well, you know what? I've been doing research on this because I've been wanting to drop kick a few people in my life, right? You know, like people say, is that a bit much? Is that recorded? No. but like, there's a part of me that's been really like, oh, I can't believe that person. You know, I've been having this, and I think there's COVID, there's social justice. Anyway, there's a lot of things going on that I've been having a strong emotional response to people's lack of empathy. So this is what I do. I say, look, it's okay if we don't agree, because we're not going to agree with everything. But your lack of empathy, right? Can we have a discussion about that? Because I don't have problems with the disagreeing. What I have problems with is like we're disagreeing about things in which we choose not to see people, where people become objects. And we can disagree, but can we be empathetic? Can we just take a little time and say, can we just understand this person's circumstances before we cast judgment? Can we just show a little bit of empathy? Listen, I don't agree with that. Oh, I don't agree with that. No, that's cool. But can I just take a deep breath and try to understand maybe what that person's experience might be? I think that's the problem. It's not the disagreements that we're really having issues with, because we disagree with each other all the time. What do you want to go eat? I don't know. Let's go here. Oh, we've been there already. Let's go there. Can we go here? You know, we disagree all the time as a society. What we lack is empathy. That's what technology has given us, a lack of empathy. And so I'm saying really, bring empathy back to your jobs. Don't let technology take away empathetic reasoning and skills that you need as a real estate agent. Most empathetic people I know are sitting in here watching this right now. Does that make sense? Okay, excellent question. Ooh, that was a rough one. I'm struggling with that one. I have to do research on that one, do my own personal work. And if you haven't noticed, guys, I do my own personal work. With rejection, with all of these type of things, if you don't do your own personal work, it's very difficult to stand up in front of people because you'll have a sense on whether I've done my work or not. You get a sense. Is that crazy? It's the truth. Next question. Yes?
So I was curious with your wife. I just recently reread and did a test on the 5 love languages.
Uh-huh.
So is your wife's high language service? And is that why you're asking her every day, what can I do?
Yes, so love languages, 5 love languages, that's great. Yes, my wife is definitely a show me person. You can tell me you love me all day, but if you do the dishes, I'll feel love. So I got a really good dishwasher. I want you guys to think about that. The best way to love people is be smart about it. My wife loves working out. I can't stand it. So I work out with her certain times of the week so I can recuperate in the other times of the week. I don't love her enough to work out every day with her. It's not healthy for me. I'll be dead. Someone's got to feed the family. So we compromise. Her love language is please do the dishes. I bought a good dishwasher. Her love language is pick the kids up from school. I'm happy to do that. Right? And so I think the reality is that sometimes we look at the challenges that we face in our relationships, and what we see is that hard R word that she was using back there. We see the potential of rejection in all of our relationships. Okay? And if you see the potential of rejection in all of your relationships, that means you're really struggling with self-rejection. And folks, we live in a society where we have to look and be perfect. Thank God Men's Warehouse had this jacket on sale. Right? Because I look a bit better with it than what I did. I need to look a certain way today. Right? And it came through. But the reality is, and I'm teasing, I'm telling the truth, but I'm also teasing. But the reality is that many of us live in an area, in a realm, and in a place where we have to look a certain way, be a certain way, things have to be a certain way, and then your son passes away. Things will never look the same. Right? And you have to own that. And you have to be okay with that. And you stop worrying about how you're perceived anymore. And you're more concerned about who you need to love. It's this perception of what we need to be that is hijacking our capacity to engage and love people more meaningfully. It's just hurting us bad. We're too busy checking spiritual boxes when we should be out loving people more wholeheartedly. Get out of the checking boxes, folks. Just love somebody. Figure out how you can be helpful. You'll sleep better at night. Your body is engaged. Literally, your body is a service machine. It's literally designed for you to seek people out and to love people. We were raised in tribes and we grew up together in groups. And the more we do that, the more healthier we feel as individuals. So I think there's some deep things in how we feel we need to be perceived that's hijacking our capacity to truly feel connected to people. Is that helpful? Does that make sense? Okay. Question over here.
Yeah. Do you think you could speak just for a minute to the issue of, because it seems like in all of these issues about relationships, whether it's initiating a new one or maintaining a long relationship, what role do you think that fear of intimacy plays in that?
Oh,
How
boy.
can we, as individuals, besides sincerity, I know, right? We try to mitigate that and to really convey our sincerity and truly, genuinely, I want to help you. I want to be a blessing in your life. I'm not here to just take your money or no, you're not a dollar sign to me.
That's beautiful. So let me repeat. So what he's saying is, how does fear play into this capacity of us of loving and engaging other people? Is that summarizing it pretty good? Okay. I would say that like our one of our biggest hiccups is the potential of failure. And I think we have to become very comfortable, whether it's business or in our personal relationships, with failure. I went to Larry H. Miller. He bought a building for law enforcement. God bless that man. And I go in the building, and he's got a quote up on the wall. Failure is the next step to success. I'm like, what in the world? This is why this man made money and I'm broke. Right? Because up to that point in my life, I allowed failure to hijack me. I took it as a personal affront instead of a capacity to help me grow and learn. So I started talking to business people and people I was very close with that were very successful. I'm like, I don't understand Larry H. Miller. What is he talking about? He goes, Lomax, and our saying is we fail fast moving forward. I'm like, okay, check. So I'm getting all of these different business concepts. And in a psychological world, what we simply say is it is perfectly okay to not be okay. It is perfectly okay to love without expectation. When we have fear, we're loving with some sort of expectation that things are supposed to be a certain way when I behave a certain way. When I show love, that everything should come to me and the butterflies fly around. I know you for once upon a... You guys know, you feel me? like love comes with this beautiful package and gorgeous horses and all these type of things and no failure. When in reality, okay, it is perfectly okay to fail in the midst of choosing to love every day. And I think the fear is like, it's like a false, it's a false thing that becomes very real to us, but our fear of failure is creating something worse than failing. It's hijacking our capacity to have agency.
Just to respond, it just seems to me like you're saying that the most important thing is just the bottom line is it's a matter of truth, being honest with yourself,
Yes.
as well as being honest and sincere with others,
And choosing to act
and just
in the midst of potential failure. I'm gonna become very comfortable with the potential of failure, as well as comfortable with the potential of success. I'm going to embrace both of them equally, and I'm going to act. I'm not going to allow fear to hijack my existence.
So just do and
Do.
let the chips fall where they may.
Just do. Oh, that's beautiful.
Just do. Okay.
Somebody wrote that on a pair of shoes one day. Just do. Something like that. Just do. I can't remember it all. It was really complicated. But something like that. No, you're on point. Thank you. Next, yes.
Yes, first of all, I've admired your jacket since you walked in.
Girl, get on that website. Get on it. They're running low.
I appreciate your message because the last couple of weeks I've just dealt with one of my most difficult clients over my whole career. It was an older gentleman who was very analytical, very rude to everybody we encountered, including the builder that we worked with, and canceled contracts left and right after I wrote them, wasted a lot of my time. And I was able to talk to my broker as well as my husband to help me keep my cool when I was with him or communicating with him. And I had to make that conscious decision to be professional and to be, nice, literally, back to him. And just yesterday, he came to my office and I saw him approaching my office, and so my heart rate increases and I'm sweating and I'm looking around for backup support. And he wanted to just take a minute and come into my office, and he was retrieving his earnest money check. So he's canceling the contract, he's taking back his check.
What? No, you can't take that check back. No.
So
They can do that?
He sat down and he said, Kimberly, I'd like to talk to you for a minute. And I said, okay. And he said, I am sorry that I've been so difficult to work with. And he laid out in the last couple of months how his marriage of over 50 years was ending.
Oh.
How his daughters had turned on him. How this, that, and the other, and this hardworking man who set a life out for his family has now been stripped out from underneath him. And my heart did soften, as I was listening to him. And no, I'm not going to get a commission from it. But he looked at me and said, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. You have definitely earned more commission than any realtor I've ever met, but I just had to come in and tell you. And he started crying. Thank you for being kind.
Oh boy.
And then he left. And so I sat there for quite a while, just realizing the lesson that I had been taught. Because I certainly could have chosen different.
All right, Kimberly just gave like the best story ever. Just know that it was a really good story. I'm going to summarize. Kimberly had this really hard client. She wanted to drop kick him. He came in, took his earnest money back, and she was like, oh my goodness, after all of this? Turns out his relationships were falling apart. The people he loved most rejected him, and he thanked Kimberly for her kindness. Okay, we don't know. We don't know. What I've learned, Kimberly, to add to that is like, and I've told this to my kids tons of times, like, people who are good with themselves are really good being good with other people. So the fact that this person is generally struggling with you is a sign that all is not well. Okay, and so what we teach in therapy and in psychology is I need to have an emotional break, a healthy boundary between who I am as a real estate agent and who I am as a person. Because I cannot allow the business elements of my life that are not going well to be a direct assault on who I am as a human being. And so when things are really hard, and Kimberly gave an example of really hard, I really have to take my time, even write it down sometimes, Kimberly. Write it down and say, these are the things that are bothering me. These are the things that are hard. Why? Why are they so hard? Why is it so personal to me in this moment? And sometimes writing that down allows me to get that emotional separation I need to allow that prefrontal cortex, that decision-making system, to start working again. It's a great story. Thank you. Wish we could just get in a big circle and hold. Oh, we can't hold hands. Never mind. Okay, one more question because we're coming up on the hour. Anybody have another question? Yes, Bill.
In our society today, prejudice seems to be a key word. And I think if you were to ask probably everybody in this room, are you prejudiced, either racially, religiously, culturally, we would probably say no. But in reality, we probably are a little bit. So what can we do to recognize that and then maybe change it in our lives?
Bill, you know I do like 4-hour classes on this. I'll sum it up in 2 minutes. Bill's talking about like prejudice, and most of us would like to confess and admit that we would think we're not, but in reality we may be. Bill, I'm with you. There's an old musical called Avenue Q. Don't watch it; it's kind of raunchy. But the key song is "Everyone's a Little Bit Racist." It's quite magic, quite tuney, quite catchy. but it's the truth. Like everybody's a little bit racist. Everybody's got bias. If you don't believe you do, I'm colorblind. I don't think so. The reality is like we all have experiences and learn experiences and things we were raised that put us in a position where we were biased. Bias simply means we have preferences. What we don't want to do is have our preferences become prejudice, where we're using those preferences now to treat people differently solely because of their differences, of how they look or who they choose to love or whatever the circumstances might be. But what I teach is it is okay to have preferences. When I finish this, I'm going to go get a Coke Zero. Not a Sprite, not a root beer, not this. I'm going to get a Coke Zero. That's my preference. Okay? But if I take the Coke Zero and smack Bill aside the head with it because he's old and white, then we have an issue. I've now taken my preferences a little too far. One of the challenges we have, Bill, in society today is that we misunderstand words. If there's prejudice or racism, it doesn't mean hate. It just means our way of thinking has gone to the point where we're treating somebody differently in a way that's probably not beneficial for them. Okay? But if you mention prejudice or racism, oh, no, I'm not burning buildings down, or, the reality is there's some nuances to it, and we need to educate ourselves about nuances and open our heart to the fact that differences are beautiful. And it may be different it may have a different understanding than how I was raised. Someone told my 14-year-old daughter, 15-year-old daughter in school, well, black people like to have labor jobs because that's the things they're comfortable with. And my daughter's like, but my dad's an executive coach and he travels around the country. I'm saying, honey, I'm like, honey, don't explain it. It's just how they were educated. But here's the thing, right? If our beliefs are educating our children in a way in which they're engaging their friends, this wasn't even an enemy. This was a friend who just had this way of thinking. And there's those things we can clean up, folks. We can clean that stuff up. Clean up your home. And so I think the challenge is that sometimes the things we believe just aren't entirely correct. And it's very difficult when sometimes we believe that everything we believe is correct. And if my experience is the majority experience and I have more people agreeing with me in my correctness, it makes it even more difficult for people that may have a different experience. And that's all it is. In America, we all struggle. Me and Kenny have conversations, and I'm sorry to be personal with KP, but KP was poorer than I was growing up. A lot poorer than I was. A lot poorer than I was. And there were privileges I had in being a middle-class black person that KP didn't have. And there were abilities that KP had being this cool white male who's talented as hell that maybe I didn't have. But we both have life experiences that we have to navigate through, and we start understanding people's challenges. I can have compassion for KP and how he had to navigate those differences and those difficulties that I didn't experience. Just like KP has learned to have compassion for me regarding the things I had to navigate that are different than his experiences. And we've had these meaningful conversations, and we've come to love each other as a result of it. We're not divided by it. We've come to love each other about it. Not to throw your laundry out there, KP, I apologize. But it's amazing how people come from different experiences, and there's challenges embedded in it. But learning to appreciate other people's challenges, and they appreciate your challenges, the commonality is love and appreciation and empathy. And we're losing that in society because what we believe is right, and empathy and love goes right along with it. The second we put our foot down, and this is the way it is, empathy goes, and love goes. Great question, Bill. I hope that was helpful. Yes?
I think that's one of the biggest challenges today in our business is trying to create that love and empathy and relationships when everything is so text and email and social this and social that.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Well, thank you, and that's why I'm here.
So do you
I'm
have
hoping
any
that
ideas?
I'm hoping that I'm helping today. I'm trying to be helpful.
You've had a lot.
But I would say, no, you're exactly right. The challenge is that we're losing empathy and love because everything's so technical. I was talking to a college coach. I was doing some work with him, and he goes, Desmond, it's amazing now. People don't quit anymore college football. They join the transfer portal. So the transfer portal is this place where you can transfer to different schools. And it used to be when me and Kenny played, if we had to quit, we had to go to the head coach and say, head coach, I'm tired, I don't want to play. Now, kids just join this portal and go, oh, I'm looking for a new opportunity. And this head coach is going, they're quitting in his mind, right? And so we've allowed technology to take away the face-to-face connection. And I'm saying, as real estate agents, do whatever you can, even if it's Skype or Zoom, do whatever you can to establish face-to-face, because that's the only thing that's going to save your business as technology tries to take everything away. I can't even talk. I was at McDonald's the other day. I love McDonald's, by the way. It's ghetto fabulous. I'm at McDonald's the other day. I'm like, I like to place an order, and the guy was sitting there in the front, and he points to a little computer screen. I'm like, that's your job now, dude? You can't bring up my order? Hey, I want to place an order. He's like, this is where we've come. McDonald's like, oh, you want to do $15 an hour? That's all cool. We throw a couple more machines in every store. Grocery stores. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, I messed up. Can you come over here and help me, please? What are we doing? And so it's so important that who you are and what you resonate and what you shine, that you get that in front of your clients as quickly as possible. You own your fabulous, own that you're fabulous, and sometimes people say yes and no. That's all. That's it. That's okay. But own the fact that you bring something unique to your job and let that expand and grow. All right, folks. I hope I've been helpful. I just want to thank the association for inviting me to be a part of this. It's a blessing in my life to know such amazing people. Thank you, Stephen. Thanks, KP. There's a lot of consideration in what I do and in what I share, and I just want you to know that I really believe that what you do is meaningful and important, and owning that on a day-to-day basis and navigating this new world that's trying to tear us away from each other and maintaining meaningful relationships will keep you successful. So thank you.